Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It's time for Taroscopes again. We're going to be doing the Taroscopes to the sign of Gemini. That's Gemini Sun, Moon, and or Rising for the month of September 2023. Now, before we get into the cards, I'm going to be pulling an Oracle card using the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck, and then we're going to take a look at the tarot using the Crow Tarot this month for Gemini. I'd like to look at the astrology. And briefly, September is a different type of month um, compared to the very transformational and evolutionarily intense months that preceded it. I think that all began back in May during the eclipse season, June, July, August, very, very active, especially July, and then August as a point of culmination when things were starting to come together and sort of, in a way, the hammer was coming down, and the hammer was the hammer of Thor. And the hammer took out any number of high-profile people. We'll just keep it at that. So now we have a month in which the majority, or actually by the fourth of the month, all of the social and transpersonal planets will be moving retrograde. When a planet is retrograde, it's actually not moving backwards. It just seems that way um, from our perspective on the Earth. There's a rethinking, there's a reevaluation, and both Jupiter and Saturn are retrograde this month. They're the social planets, so we're rethinking our social contracts. We have Uranus retrograde now, went retrograde at the end of August. We have Pluto retrograde, we have Neptune retrograde, and those transpersonal planets are the planets that sort of drive the engine of evolution. And so we've actually made many giant steps forward, and now we're sort of reevaluating that. Now, as far as on the personal level, we do start the month with Venus and your ruling planet, Mercury, retrograde. Venus is retrograde in Leo. She's retrograde for about 40 days and 40 nights. So I believe in this cycle, she's 43 days. It happened in the sign of Leo. These retrograde, Venus retrograde points when Venus moves from, in this case, being an evening star to a morning star in the sign of Leo, are 8-year cycles, and they're culturally significant, how we interact with each other. So that is shifting and changing now. On the 3rd of this month, Venus is going to be moving forward. She actually starts as morning star. She started as morning star on the 21st of August. So we're starting to see her rise back up into the sky, just straight out of her trip to the underworld. So there's the Venus as a planet, especially now as she goes direct, is going to start to see what it is that she's bringing forth from her journey to the underworld. So we're going to be seeing that now. For you, Gemini, your ruling planet Mercury is retrograde in the other sign that it rules, Virgo. This is your 4th house cusp. And so there's a rethinking of family. There could be a rethinking of your home, where you live, what it means to you. Is it time to move on? Are you staying put? There's that energy to consider with this Mercury retrograde. Mercury does go out of retrograde on the 15th, so you might start to feel a little bit of a lift. However, it doesn't get out of its shadow until October. So while things will start to move forward for you, maybe a little bit easier, after the 15th, we're really not out from under that retrograde period. And of course, retrogrades are always about reconsideration, rethinking. It's a time of inner reflection. And Gemini is very much an outward sign. Gemini has a curiosity. It wants to be out there. It wants to get all the information. It wants to sort of, oh, what's this fly? It's like a butterfly on any number of flowers. Oh, what does this nectar taste like? What does this nectar taste like? It's not known for its depth, really. It's known for its ability to just flit and go from one experience to another. And when Mercury is retrograde, especially in Virgo is a very practical sign, and while also mercurial, and it also deals with our health and our well-being. So this is a time to pay attention to that, And once Mercury goes direct, it's going to feel a little bit like maybe you can move forward on some of the reconsiderations that you've had. We do have a new moon in Virgo, so we have an opportunity to start something new in that fourth house of family and home and soul. So perhaps a new soul journey for you, like sort of reinvesting in your spiritual self. You could be reinvesting in your family. You could be reinvesting in your home. We also have a full moon. Now that new moon occurs on the 14th. Oh, hold on the 14th. We also have on the 14th, we have the new moon in Virgo. The next day, 15th, is when Mercury goes direct. And then we also have a full moon that's occurring on the 29th, and that's at 6 degrees of Aries. Gemini for you, that's your 11th house. And so something around issues of love, friendship, and romantic love comes to fruition. So we'll see anytime we have a full moon, there's a rising, of course, of the feelings and the energy, right? The moon energy, it's full. Everybody gets like, woo, the moon's full, right? Because our emotions are sort of like full force. And in Aries, there can be some anger. So we need to be aware of that. At the same time, with the sun in Libra, to remember to try to keep a certain amount of poise. Speaking of the sun in Libra, the sun moves into Libra on the 23rd. That is the equinox. That's when the light and the dark are equal. The day and the night are equal. That's when you can balance an egg on your hand twice a year at each equinox. And of course, it's the beginning of the fall season here in the Northern Hemisphere, but the beginning of the spring in the Southern Hemisphere. And so we are up here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're starting to become more internalized as the light starts to decrease. All the illumination that happened when the light was more, so that's between spring equinox and fall equinox. Now we take all that information and we have to take it in, and we have to make decisions as we face the fall and then the winter. And then in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the opposite. They've had a period of introspection, and now it's time for them to come into themselves in this sort of, the light is shining brighter and brighter each day and higher each day. So that's the shift in energies. All right, so let's take a look. I'm going to use this Oracle deck, which I really like. I love the art, actually. It's by Kyle Gray with, I don't know if it might be Kylie, actually. It might be Kylie Gray. I don't know. And artwork by Lily Moses. So let's take a look. This is the Angels and Ancestors deck. What does Gemini need to be aware of this month of September? What is your message? What is your message? All right, let me shuffle them a little bit differently here. I've been having issues with my hands. Hands are ruled by Gemini. shoulders, arms, lungs. Lungs hold grief. So if you're having some lung issues, you may want to look into that. It's really important now to support your lungs, especially with Mercury retrograde. There's a lot of very good herbs for that. And just sort of take care of your mucous membranes. That's a good for every sign, not just Gemini. All right. Let's see, what do we have? Take it right off the top. Fire Guardian. Oh dear. Okay, Fire Guardian. I will read it from the book and I will hold it up because it's such a pretty card. He looks Hawaiian, doesn't he? He looks Hawaiian in this. That's interesting. We just had the fire in Maui. Okay, let me just this book is sort of organized in a weird way, so let me find it. Fire Guardian. 100? Is that the page? Okay. Take this beautiful angel here. Oh. Let's see if we can get a good view on it. Sorry about that. It's the lighting in here. Okay, well, that's good enough, I think. Connect with your desires. The sparks could lead to something beautiful. You are being guided by your angels to connect with the powerful energy of desire at this time. If you have recently set an intention to explore your sexual side or become more sexually open, the fire of desire can burn away old setbacks that are preventing you, from expressing that part of your nature. If you are in a relationship, this card can indicate a great spiritual and sexual connection. I also think we need to speak of with fire is the fire of creativity. Sexuality is a wonderful way to express that, but there are other ways as well. So just for those of you who are like, wait a minute, I might be a little too old for this. You can include that with your creative spark. Oops, hold on. The fire angel just fell on the ground. No, I'll put him over here by the candle. There we go. Yeah, that's good. Okay. All right. Now let's take a look using the Crow Tarot for what's ahead. Now, as always, I don't like to bring up the ex-president in these readings because these are not political readings, but he is a Gemini, so some of this stuff could apply to him as well. I'll try to keep him out of it. Last month, it was near impossible because he was all over the cards, so I'll apologize up front if that happens. Because I know some of you are like, I don't want to hear about this dredrewel. So what's a dredrewel? A dredrewel is a cucumber. I don't know if that's really what it is, but that's what I grew up in an Italian household. And when somebody was dopey, called him a dredrewel. I don't know. I think cucumbers are pretty cool, but obviously in my cultural upbringing, not so much. The Italians had a great way of describing people as vegetables. We'll just stop at that for those Italians or who were raised by Italians. All right. All right, what's up for Gemini? Okay. Well, you're in a whole new place, Gemini, aren't you? What kind of fool am I? I don't know. For some reason, I remember doing this reading. I'll have to look back and see. Maybe it was even Gemini last month. And maybe I even used these cards. I don't know. I'll have to check. But yeah, so you're in a whole new place. This is about a leap of faith. This is about going for it, really. Are you foolish? Or is this really just that need for leap of faith? Let's take a look. Let's see what's crossing it. We have the Eight of Wands crossing it. This is information coming in. Okay, so I'm going to keep the ex-president out of this, well, I'm going to try. This is information coming fast and fast and fast and fast and fast. So, things changing, things moving. So you're in a new place and there's all this information coming at you. And the challenge, of course, is to make sense of it. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. I took this leap of faith and now there's all this stuff coming at me. What is this? The Eight of Wands is connected to the sign of Sagittarius, actually, which is your opposite sign. And Sagittarius is often the truth. So there's all these truths coming through, challenging, and challenging this in the case of if you're being foolish, you're being foolish because you're not looking at the facts as they come in. But on the other side of things, if you've made the leap of faith, and that is the best sort of path for you, now you have all this information coming in that you may not yet have the capacity to make sense of at this time. Let's see what's underneath it all. We have the Hermit here. This is a card of wisdom. This is a card of introspection. Wow, two major arcanas. I picked three cards and two of them are major arcanas. The decision to move into a whole new direction was based on your wisdom, on what you understand. And perhaps with the Hermit, it's about shining. He has his little lantern there. It's about shining the light, right? It's about shining the light. So let's see what's in the past. We'll do the whole reading. We have the Five of Wands, which can be chaotic, and there's this energy of combativeness, fighting, perhaps fighting for superiority. My idea is the best idea. My creative spark is the most important creative spark here. But the Five of Wands deals with inspiration, because it's fire, and change. So there's been a change in perhaps the things that have inspired you. Let's see what's in the sky. We have the King of Swords. So this is the long arm of justice. This is Saturn. As you sow, so shall you reap, right? This is a sense of being held accountable, being held responsible. Now, for those of you who understand that freedom comes through being responsible, this is a good card to have up there. For those who feel that freedom is doing whatever you want, no matter how much chaos it creates, it's a little bit of a disappointment. Now, I know most of my people who watch this are in the former camp and not the latter camp, but there are some out there that are going to get a little bit of a rude awakening this month. Let's see in the immediate future. We have the Ten of Wands. There's a lot of burden. There's a lot of burden, but it is a 10. So it seems to me that I just dropped all the cards on the floor. Now I have to reclaim them. I'll be right back. God, it's crazy. Well, what's that special? I guess the universe wanted to reshuffle the cards a little bit, but we'll continue. I just picked them up off the floor the way they fell. So this month for you, because this immediate future card, when you do a monthly reading, is pretty much the card of the month. This is an evaluation. Like there's all this information coming in, right? Which was the challenge of this month as you start a new cycle. The question is, what are you going to carry and what are you not going to carry? this is the burden bearer, but this is also, as a 10 card says, that we need to organize and then perhaps release it. We see this crow carrying the burden, but it's more, a little bit more well organized perhaps than here. So I think what this is talking about, this as the challenge for the month, and this as the energy of the month, is to take in all that information and start to categorize it. Now, you have this Mercury retrograde period, and in Virgo is really about taking care of the details. So details need to be attended to this month for you. How it's seen from the outside, a big change. You are transforming. You are changing. You are leaving the old behind and moving into the new. Your domestic situation, ooh, new opportunities in your domestic situation. This is really a nice card, I think. Helps to, whenever you have, but okay, let me finish my thought and then I'll say my second thought after that. It's always nice to see a pentacle because it sort of grounds everything. Everything so far has been somewhat ungrounded. We have all this fire energy um, and all this, pretty much fire energy all around, and this helps us to ground it a little bit. But it does take effort. Like the Ace of Pentacles is the potential of something new, the potential of a new creative project, or a new business, or sometimes a new life coming into your life if if you're of childbearing age, or maybe your children are having children. There's that energy of something new, but it needs to be nurtured. So it's not just the Ace of Pentacles is the potential for prosperity. It's not a guarantee of prosperity because you have to work the pentacles, right? It's just the idea. So let's see, hopes and fears. You're hoping, I want it now and I want it all. This is family money. This is legacy money. This is security. You want security. You want security for your family. You want security for the future. That's your wish. I don't think you fear that. I think you wish that. And we have the outcome of moving away from things that are no longer spiritually fulfilling for you. So this is after a long, hard application of energy. You're like, why am I doing this? So you're going to be walking away from something. Let's see. Let's continue and see if we can get a major arcana. Yeah. And we have the Justice card. So a balancing of the scales. So for everybody besides the ex-president, this seems to me like you're going to be evaluating how you're expending your energy and whether it is a valuable thing or not. For the ex-president, we have Justice. So with Justice here and the King of Swords here, this card often comes to me as Jack Smith. Jack Smith. So we'll probably hear something. Justice again. Justice again. The Eight of Swords underneath it all. So things are being balanced. The scales are being balanced for you. Empress, which is potential, abundance, creative imagination. Wonderful card. And the Magician. So what this says to me is if you can let go of that which is burdening you, you can actually reinvent yourself. This is an opportunity for you to completely reinvent yourself. And, but in order to do so, you have to see the facts. You have to realize that there are things that need to be attended to and details that need to be taken care of. So, I'm going to say this, and I don't know if people are going to be happy or upset about this or sad. or relieved, even though I said I wasn't going to try to make it political. So apologies again. You can shut this off right now if you don't want to hear what I have to say about the ex-president. You know, if he just turned around and said, "Look, I'm sorry. I I was wrong." Now, I know what you're thinking. I think it would go a long way to a healing. I don't think it would save him from judgment. I don't think it would, justice is justice is justice. You have to pay for what you do. You have to pay to play, right? Is that the expression? Um, but it would be a big shift, and it would change things in a profound way if he was able. So he may not be able, but perhaps we need to be able. We need to be able to say, "Look, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Um, it's what I wanted to believe and not what was really there." And take your lumps, take the justice, balance the scales, because once you balance the scales, there's great potential for beautiful things and manifesting whatever it is that you want to manifest. So that's the story, morning glories. All right, so please like and subscribe if you haven't. Give me the thumbs up or the thumb up, I guess, just one thumb. I do have a Patreon page. If you like my work and would like to support me, it'd be greatly appreciated. The more support I get, the more work I can do, and the more I can share what I know, what I understand. I would really like to expand. I think it's information that's important. Of course, don't we all think what we have to say is important? But it's a perspective, it's a perspective. It's not just what I think, it's what I observe, right? Now, I am starting a beginner's astrology class this month in September. I will be putting the dates up as soon as I take a closer look at my calendar. The classes are usually in the evening, because I'm on the East Coast. I like to do them in the evening, so people, if you're on the West Coast, you can, it's not too early for you to take a class, for those of you who still have to work during the day. But I do record all the classes, so even if you can't attend it, you can purchase the class. And there are links below for that. And if you would like a reading, I do astrology, Kabbalah, numerology combination readings. I have a 90-minute reading and a 60-minute reading. If this is your first time, I do prefer the 90-minute reading if you can afford it. I do try to keep the readings lower. Like, I try to keep them affordable. That's what I want to say. I know that everybody is trying to, evaluate what's most important and what they're going to spend their hard-earned money on. So I understand that. All right. Have yourself a great month, guys. Congratulations on your new life. And I'll see you again next month. Take care, everyone. Be careful out there. Namaste.